Good evening and welcome to Students Dominate Math. My name is Eric Hendricks. This is a live call-in show brought to you through the facilities of CAN TV. It's also interactive, so you call in the number 312-738-1060 and I will do the best that I can to serve as your math tutor for the next 1/2 hour. You call in any question you have in the area of mathematics, and I know this is probably your winter break, but still, maybe it's a topic that you had at school in your final exams and you think you struggled in it. We can do the best we can to clear all that up before you start school in the year 2017. In the meantime, what I have topics that I'd like to talk to you about. Normally it's a math topic. Normally we discuss some kind of formula or math concept. We're not going to do that today. We're going to sort of pick up where we left off last time. We talked about qualities of a good teacher. And it's a great time though, because one of the things that I want to get a bunch of good teachers together, and I've got some ideas as far as what we can do to help multitudes of students. If you are by chance an interested teacher and linking up with a number of high quality students in need of tutoring, can you please call the number on the screen? You don't even have to talk to me. If you'd like to talk to me, you can on the show, but one of the things we want you to call the show if you are, let's say you've got some kind of math background or you've got some kind of science background and you are interested in working with students, tutoring students in the areas of math and science. You call that number on the screen. I'm going to make this request. I'm going to make this and leave your phone number, and I'll get back to you. We can talk in more detail. But I'd like you to call in to that number, 312-738-1060. In the meantime, I want to pick up, and I'm going to make that request a number of times today. I'm going to pick up where we left off on some of the qualities of an outstanding instructor. What are some of the qualities of your favorite teacher, the teacher you will never forget? You might have been in school long time ago, but you never forget that one person who showed interest in you. You never forget that one person who helped you understand, where they said something, you said, oh, I get it now. Why don't you call in the number 312 and add to this list that we're developing of some qualities of a very good instructor. Some of the things that we talked about last week was we talked about this idea of parental involvement. My experience is if you have a parent, and this is for the parents out here, if you have a parent that is super involved, super engaged, calling the teacher regarding the child's progress and how's my child doing. They did this assignment. They were struggling last night. How did they do? Is my child asking questions? Where does my child sit? Is my child focused? One of the best questions that a parent can ask is, in your opinion, does my child work hard? There's so many questions. Is my child, some of my parents that I consider my absolute best parents, their children perform well, but they still have a variety of questions. Hey, can my child do better in this area, that area? In your opinion, where can my child improve? Now, this child is on the A honor roll, but this idea of, man, my child, I know they can do better. No one's perfect, so how can my student improve? Parental involvement is critical. Parental involvement is critical, not to make the A honor roll. You have students who make the A honor roll but don't have parental involvement. But parental involvement is critical in the area of pushing that child beyond what they might believe they can do. You can make the A honor roll but still not be applying yourself to the best of your ability. So parental involvement is critical. There is no getting around the importance of that parent being engaged and an active contributor into the direction of the development of that child. It's absolutely essential. Just a quick story that I'll never forget. I was talking to the parent-teacher conference. Student was sitting right there, and I'm talking, and then the child says something like, and then I just kept talking, but the parent shut the whole meeting down. The parent says, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. No, that's not acceptable. Now, I was a little bit caught off guard because all the child did was say, that's all the child. But see, the parent knows the child. And that to me, because I don't know the child, that doesn't mean anything. But to that parent, that's a sign, the child shut down. The child's not listening to you. And see, this combination of the teacher who maybe knows the child from an academic specific subject area standpoint, and the parent who knows the child, who knows the child. I think you know what I mean. But that combination, man, it's unstoppable. You can create a child who dominates. The child dominates, and it's a beautiful thing. So, got a little bit long-winded on that, but I can't overstress the importance of parental involvement. Second thing we talked about after parental involvement was this idea of having the adult in the room being able to see in the child what the child may not be able to see in themselves. And it's sort of connected to the first quality, but being willing to work hard and never quit on the child, regardless of what you see. A lot of times it's important that the teacher, the best they can, almost teach by faith. It's almost like I know to some degree you have to respond to whatever you're experiencing in the classroom, but if you can view that 14, 15-year-old child if you can sort of look ahead in the life of that child and see the productive, responsible adult while you're in the midst of a crazy, possibly challenging situation, if you can see through all that and see the value in that young person, this is very difficult to do, really care about the child. This is one of the great qualities of a good instructor. This idea of never quitting on the child. One of the biggest things that you must avoid as a teacher is saying something that can be misunderstood and received from the child's standpoint as this person doesn't care about me. This person doesn't like me. That's one of the worst things you can do. The children shut down, and now you can't reach them. There's always that backdrop. Sometimes, regardless of all the compliments you've given prior to that, if they in their mind see or can come to any kind of conclusion based on maybe what you've said or done, this person doesn't care about me, sometimes my experience has been they'll shut down. So this idea of parental involvement, this idea of working hard with the child, showing them that you care about them, is super important. It's, from my perspective, it's rooted in a concern, a deep, deep concern to see the children perform at a higher level. Some would even call it love, where you really love the child and you've invested so much in them, you've shared so much with them, there's no way that you'd want all the things that you shared to fall on deaf ears and there be no result of all of the time, effort, and many times prayer that you've invested. So that's also there. I want you to call in the number 312-738-1060 and share with me, the teacher you'll never forget. You share with me the thing that was done or said that you'll never forget. There was a real benefit to you, something that maybe you carried today. It's sort of something that maybe you live by, something that the teacher did or said that really made a difference in your life and really helped you. All right, so we talked about parental involvement. We've talked about this idea of loving, never quitting on a child, never saying something that could be misunderstood to mean to them that you don't care. This idea of, we also said last week, you got to assign homework. You got to assign. A great teacher assigns homework often. I often sort of kid with the students. I say, hey, the way I show you I care about you is to give you homework. And then what a good teacher does is they can critique the homework and they document the different errors that are made, and then they do the best they can to that following day make sure that whatever the issues were on their particular assessment are made clear. I do the best I can to get tests and quizzes back to the students right away. I don't want them to wait a week and a half after they take the assessment and they start talking about, well, you made this mistake, that mistake. Unfortunately, sometimes the students forget. Soon after they take an assessment, they forget the very things that they knew. And I mean, that's a whole nother subject, a whole nother area. We need to work on the students in this area. But the sooner they take an assessment, we can get that material back to them, I think the better. Your ability to make any kind of corrections in their understanding that you need to. For the people who are watching, I'd like you to call in 312-738-1060. If you have a math or science or even business, something economics, a background in those areas, if you could call in the number. If you're interested in working with students, helping them to dominate the area that you have been gifted in, please call the number on the screen. Share your information with the person on the phone, and then I would love to talk to you about some ideas that we have to work with a great number of students in their classes. So we've talked about parental involvement. We talked about this idea of never quitting, never giving up on the students, and then we talked about assigning homework and critiquing that homework, giving them suggestions on ways to improve and get better. One of the biggest things is, and I think I also mentioned working hard. If I didn't, you got to work hard. You got to be, it's a lot of time in working with the students that needs to be invested. And then this idea of a disciplined classroom, oh my goodness, is one of the most important things. You got to have an environment. And I understand in today's educational environment, sometimes this is very, very difficult. But when you talk to your child, you say, hey, what's the classroom like? What's going on in there? Paint the picture for me. Not only where are you sitting, but who's sitting next to you? Is it your friend who you talking to? Are you focused? Are you sidetracked? These are the kinds of questions when you talk to your child, you say, how's school going? Don't just wait for fine. That's not That's not sharing anything. You got to ask specific questions. Give me some details. Give me some details. And the thing that I would say is you got to have a disciplined learning environment. There's got to be, and I'll connect with that, a tough love. There's got to be a tough love. Hey, you sit down and be quiet and listen to what I'm saying. You don't talk like that to the students unless if you say, hey, I need your attention, I need your attention. If you have to say that over and over and over again, hey, that's wasting time. And oh, by the way, this is just a personal thing. I don't like it when instructors feel as though there has to be a need for all of the dancing and all of the especially at the high school level, all the dancing, and you got to do a dance and all this stuff to get the children to pay attention, and all of the other things that I'm seeing on social media, all these things. Hey, the competition, they're learning and dominating and growing and working hard and all these things while you dancing and all this stuff. We don't have time for that. Hey, that's after the bell rings. Let's do that. Hey, let's do that after class is over. But when the class is going on, this has to be focused, disciplined instruction if the goal is to dominate. If the goal is to dominate, how you gonna be doing all this dancing and all this other stuff that I'm seeing going on in the classroom? All the dapping and all this stuff. Hey man, get to work. So that's just my opinion. So this idea of, don't get me wrong, man, in my classroom, we have fun. I need to say that. I believe dominating, you can make dominating enjoyable. The students are working hard, maybe sometimes together, sometimes independently, sometimes the students come to the front. Hey, so students asking questions. Hey, the students helping each other. Hey, you can be learning and dominating math, science, English, Spanish, all this history, that's fun. But hey, some of this other stuff, man, in my opinion, we don't have time for. So, a disciplined classroom where there is one voice. There is one voice. And if that voice, now sometimes as a teacher, I yield. I say, hey, so-and-so, that was a great question that you asked. Hey, I want so-and-so to answer it. But hey, there's no shouting out. There's no, oh no, you don't just shout out. Now sometimes my students, they know what I accept and what I don't, but there's no distraction. That's the key thing. The students know if a student shouts something out and it's within the flow of the class and it responds to what someone has asked and it's a respectful way and it doesn't cause someone to lose focus, hey, that's applauded. Hey, good job, so-and-so. Great job, dominating. Let's go. Let's keep it up. You know, this kind of thing is important and should be encouraged. It's when the distractions occur, when this child is talking out of turn, and it sets up an environment where the focus is off of learning and it's now on something of a foolish nature, and it's a distraction, and it hinders the learning process. It stops the flow of the class. This is unacceptable. And as a teacher, you have to do the best that you can, in my opinion, to address it. That's a lot of times, hey, I'll pull the child out in the hallway. Sometimes I'll call the parent. I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things over the years. But I don't want to get off track. I want you to call 312-738-1060 for one of two reasons. I want you to share with me the teacher. You'll never forget some of the qualities that they had. That's the first thing. Second thing, I want you to call me if you have some of the qualities that I'm mentioning today and you're interested in working with students in the areas of math or science, leave your information at the number on the screen, and I love to sit down and talk with you and share a great opportunity that it might be upcoming very, very, very soon. All right, so another thing, you've got to have passion. Man, you got to have passion. If you're a very, very smart person, you have a lot of passion, man, you love what you're talking about, you can transform the thinking of a child. Hey, all of a sudden they just see the passion. They may not necessarily like what you're talking about, but they just see the passion, and they'll be more inclined to listen to you. So there are just so many qualities that a great teacher have in passion, not to mention competency. Competency next to love and working hard, next to giving homework is one of them. It's probably the most important thing. You have to be strong in your area. You have to know what you're talking about. And I say you gotta know 2-3 years, you gotta know 3-4 years beyond the actual subject that you're talking about, to have a strong understanding and let students know why it is important what you're talking about. Why is it important that you understand this material? Well, if you don't have a command of the particular topic you're discussing, you may not be able to guide properly that student in the direction they need to go. If you don't know why you're learning what you're learning, if you don't know why the students are learning that, or how it's going to be important a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if you don't know I teach at the high school level. If you don't know the subjects that the students will be talking about at the collegiate level, you might not be able to properly share with them the details that they would need to know to perform at a high level. So all of these things are important. I want you to call the number 312. We only have 5 more minutes in the show. You're waiting, but I want phone calls. I want to know, well, we don't have time for you to call in now regarding qualities on great teachers that you have. But if you are a instructor, if you are a teacher, if you are a tutor, or even if you are just passionate about a subject like math, science, economics, physics, business, if you have a background in that area, please call the number 312-738-1060. Leave your name, your information, your phone number, and I will call you back. We have a great opportunity for some quality people out here interested in working with students. So we only have a couple more minutes. I'm just going to run through some last minute qualities that my experience has shown me are shared by great teachers. Commitment. And I just feel the need to mention one of the great instructors who passed about 2 years ago. I'll never forget. Oh, we got a number of them at Providence St. Mel, but someone that just comes to mind now is Marva Collins, man. She was from the west side of Chicago. This person was so committed. She was frustrated with certain things. She started her own school. Beautiful. Look up Marva Collins. You can thank me later. But you look up that woman, Marva Collins, just committed to student excellence, students performing well. And then I'm running out of time, but this idea of being connected to the child, it's got to be something. You got to have something. You got to have something. Some teachers are humorous. Like I say, some teachers are super passionate. Some teachers, the children just know they feel the love, but you got to have something. We don't have any more time. God bless you. Thank you for watching. A number of people called in, and we just want to remind you, all students can and will dominate. God bless you. And again, thank you for watching.